Hello there and welcome once again to the Mayor's Magazine. I'm Mick Cornett, the Mayor of Oklahoma City, and this is our show for March 2014. We have another sports team getting ready to line up and play its first ever game this spring. It's the Oklahoma City Energy, and we have the head coach, Jimmy Nielson. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Oklahoma City. This is your first time to ever call Oklahoma City home. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm born and raised in Denmark. Lived there most of my life. Had a few years in England. I've been in America for 4 years now. I'm coming from Kansas City. I moved to Kansas City to play for Sporting Kansas City, and I played there for 4 years, and I retired December 8th last year, and I became the head coach here January 1st.
Professional soccer is making quite its mark on our country, and you, of course, were the goaltender on the national champions last year for MLS.
Soccer is growing crazy right now in America, and it's awesome to see. You know, I didn't grow up with baseball, so I always put a big smile on my face in Kansas City when I drive around and see they're playing soccer right now in the baseball parks. Not being disrespectful to the baseball, but it gives me a big smile on the face. That's just telling me how soccer is growing now.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I want our audience to keep in mind, you went out a champion. You were the goaltender for the champion team. And did you announce your retirement before the finals or after the finals?
After the final. I couldn't have retired if we lost a game. And you know, it was a very close game. We went to penalty shootout, and when I walked on the field before the game, I told myself, if we win tonight, this is your last game. Of course, I didn't make that decision there. I had the feeling during the year, if we became champions, that could be my last season. And
when did you make the announcement official?
2 days later.
Yeah. And then the opportunity to be a coach
Yes.
has emerged, and Oklahoma City came calling.
That's true. Oklahoma City Energy FC. I've been waiting for this opportunity for many, many years. I always wanted to be a coach. Even when I was playing, I was coaching in different academies, depending on what team I was playing for. I always had a coach inside me. You know, when I was in school and everybody were drawing horses and beautiful heaven and all that, I was drawing tactics in my papers. So I already had a coach inside me.
Coaches are almost always former players. Is there a track record for goaltenders becoming coaches, or is there one position on the field that seems to draw more coaches than others?
A lot of goalkeepers become coaches afterwards.
Because you have time to think during all those games.
You have time to think, and a part of a goalkeeper's job is also to organize the player in front of you. You have a beautiful view, you can see everything what's going on in the field. So you need a good relationship with your teammates and put them in the right directions.
What style of coach will you be? Let's talk first the interaction with the players themselves. What type of locker room, what type of culture will you try to create?
I want to bring in good players, and we have already 15 players on contract. We started practice yesterday. I want to bring in good guys. They want to be a part of Oklahoma City. They want to be a part of the community. They want to come out to the club teams and coach and show their faces and motivate the young players to be better and motivate the kids to play some more soccer and watch the energy on TV as well.
Where do you find players for the team that's going to be playing in Oklahoma City at this level?
All over the world.
Yeah. Are they coming from universities?
Some of them from former professional teams.
In other parts of the world?
Other parts of the world. We have two from Denmark who's working on their visa to get into the country. We have two from Nigeria on trial right now. We have a few others.
And what type of style do you want your team to play?
We want to play, if we go with numbers right now, we want to play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, depending on the opponent, the coming opponent, on what we're most comfortable with. And I hope we can play some very attractive soccer and play some beautiful soccer. But the most important thing to me is we're winning. I'm a winner. I want the team to be winners. And we want to win a championship here. I can't say we're going to win the championship here in the first year. It's going to be tough. But we want to compete for it.
And fan base is obviously going to be very excited about this first year. And we're going to put some information on the screen about how people can inquire about tickets, season tickets, website information, all that. But give us your pitch. Why should people in Oklahoma City buy tickets and come out and watch the Energy play?
I want to put it this way. The fans and the community will be the heart and soul in this team here. If they don't pick up professional soccer, this team here will not last very long. So we need their support, and they have to come out there at McGuinness High School and watch our game, because we'll play some attractive soccer. We'll motivate the young kids to play some more soccer, and hopefully we'll win a lot of games.
Tell us a little bit about your background. What age were you when you started playing in Denmark?
4. and I played 365 days a year until 2 months ago. That's very important. If you want, I don't want to be disrespectful to the American system, how they do things.
Well, it's seasonal here.
It is. You know, you play soccer for 2 or 3 months, you play hockey for 2 or 3 months. If you want to make it on the top, in my opinion, you got to choose when you're around 11, 12, 13 years and then go all in on one sport.
Mm-hmm. And were you always a goaltender?
Always. I was too lazy to do the running.
Were you always tall? Because I don't know what your height is. But.
Yeah, I'm 6'4", always been tall, and again, too lazy to do the running, so I was in the goal from I was 4 years old.
Tell us about your youth teams. Their success. Did you play on club teams that were successful?
I did. I moved to the big team in the city. The big team I supported since I was a little kid. I went there every Sunday afternoon to watch them. And well, to make a long story short, 2 weeks into my trial at that new team, Albert BK, the coach called me into his office and said, "Hey, Mr. Nielson, you're not good enough to this level here. I think you should go back to your small club team and have some fun." And that was the message I gave to the players who went on a tryout here this weekend. You know, if you don't make it here in Oklahoma City, it doesn't mean you can't make it. You just got to go back and work hard, and then maybe try again next year. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I didn't throw the towel in the ring. I was keep playing and fighting for the spot. And 2 years later, I was the #1 goalkeeper on the professional team.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you're getting involved in knowing more about youth soccer in Oklahoma City. What's your impression so far about the numbers of kids coming up?
Right now, I've been extremely busy to build up the roster. And I haven't been involved a lot, but our general manager, Jason Hawkins, is a lot involved with the youth soccer in Oklahoma City. And of course, when things are getting settled a little bit, I got the roster in place, I will be more involved there as well. It's very, very important for us.
And tell us about your family.
Family, I've been married for 13 years. 2 kids, 2 girls, Millie and Isabella. They're 15 and 7 years old, and they'll move down here the first week of June.
All right. Well, we are thrilled to have you in town, and I know we look forward to the Energy starting their season in April. First few games are on the road, you were telling me?
Yes, the first 4 games will be on the road because they're redoing the field at McGuinness High School. We'll have the home opener April 26th against the defending champion from last year, Orlando City. So that should be an exciting game.
Information about how you can get tickets is on the screen. April 26th, the first game for the Oklahoma City Energy and the coach, Jimmy Nielson. Thanks for coming on the Mayor's Magazine.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. Appreciate it. We'll be back with more of the Mayor's Magazine after this.
In Oklahoma, the sights and sounds of severe weather are all too familiar. Do you know what to do when you hear an outdoor warning siren?
I'm Frank Barnes, Oklahoma City Emergency Manager. In Oklahoma City, the sirens sound to warn you that weather conditions may produce a tornado.
That's your signal to take shelter and seek information about where severe weather could strike.
And remember, an all-clear signal does not sound. Always monitor the weather conditions until the threat has passed.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. Well, in the last episode, we met the head coach of the Oklahoma City Energy, Jimmy Nielson. Of course, that was soccer, and now we're switching to baseball. Alex Freedman, the voice of the Oklahoma City Redhawks. Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine.
Well, thank you so much. Always great to be here.
Well, it's good to have you back, and the Redhawks had such an exciting season last year.
They did. 82-62 is the best regular season record in our league. Also the second best record in team history, and just missed tying the record by 1 win. Just a phenomenal year.
Yeah. Well, let's go through a little bit of the pace of last season. Talk about how the team did. We start off doing well. Did we end well? What was the pace of the 2013 season?
Really, for the first few months, we were doing okay, but not great. We stumbled going into the All-Star break. I think we were just a few games above 500. Then after that break, something clicked. I mean, they just went on a tear. It was highlighted by a 17-game home winning streak, which shattered the previous team record. We've established such a great home field advantage here in Bricktown the last 2 years, 40 more wins than losses, and that really propelled them to just run away with the division.
I attended several of the games in that winning streak, and I can remember tweeting about some pretty incredible come-from-behind victories there at the end just to keep the streak going one after another. It's amazing how a streak can it's almost like there's some sort of karma taking place when a baseball team gets hot.
Exactly, and most of the time for those first several games of the streak, it was we score first, that's it. We were holding on, and there wasn't a whole lot of drama, but as it went on, there were some of those come-from-behind wins. The 17th win, we were down to our final strike. Guy got a hit, Jose Martinez, to tie the game. Very next batter, George Springer, got a hit to drive in Jose Martinez. We win. It was just a crazy way for that 17th game to come.
And George Springer is one of the best players to ever have a minor league season in Oklahoma City. If you recall his numbers, I'd love for you to repeat them here.
Yeah, for those who aren't familiar, George Springer started the year at Double-A last year, then halfway through came to us. He finished with 37 home runs and over 40 stolen bases. No player in affiliated minor league history has ever had a 40-40 season. But the caveat I like to add is that he technically did have 40 home runs. He hit 2 in the Double-A Texas League All-Star game and then 1 in the playoffs. So it's not like he was facing inferior competition in those games. They might not go down as official regular season stats, but for all intents and purposes, he did have a 40-40 season.
Well, one of the realities of minor league baseball is if your team was really good last year, that might mean that you lose a lot of your best players to the major leagues. What's the outlook for this season?
Well, of course, the Houston Astros, our parent club, they continue to rebuild, and they've acquired a lot of talent. Now, some of those guys will graduate and have a regular role with the Astros, but there are guys behind them in Double-A, High A. They're going to be coming to us, who also won a whole lot last year. Double-A Corpus Christi, they had the best record in their league. High A Lancaster, best record in their league. Low A Quad Cities won the Midwest League Championship. So there's a lot of talent coming our way. The Astros, though, they did make some free agent signings. No big, really kind of flashy names, but solid veteran guys, especially pitchers and relief pitchers. So that'll slot some guys who might not have been with us. We'll put them back in Oklahoma City to start the year.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Astros have been trying to rebuild through the draft. Their major league record has not been very good, and it's helped with those high draft picks. It's helped stock some talent in their minor league system. Are you sensing with this free agent acquisition that they're starting to change the scope and trying to contend?
Well, they've said we're going to spend money, but we're not going to spend money just to spend money, that they're going to spend it wisely. Now, they did make a run at Masahiro Tanaka, who's a big Japanese pitcher who was eventually signed by the Yankees, but they were one of the teams in the mix. But they aren't going out right now to sign the big names yet. They've got a lot of talent, and when they find the right pieces and think that, hey, this guy can put us over the top to contend and win a championship, I think they're going to go out and do that.
Your job is to call the game in the action, but can you give us an idea of Oklahoma City's support? What was the fan base like last year, and how the corporate community responds to this team?
Well, it's just great support everywhere. If you don't know, we were ranked by USA Today as one of the 10 best minor league stadiums in the entire country, and you got to consider there's about 180 minor league teams.
Well, I knew we were top 10, but I didn't know there was 180 to choose from.
Oh,
really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is, well, and that stadium, of course, belongs to the citizens of Oklahoma City, so everyone watching this broadcast should feel a part of that.
Yes, they do, and we have great support from the city, great support from the fans, the corporate community. Such things like the 17-game home winning streak, just the success in general we've had the last few years, there's definitely a buzz. And whenever there's a great buzz in Bricktown in the summertime, it's always nice to have.
Mm-hmm. What's the secret to having a successful minor league franchise?
Well, you have to realize that you don't control the players and the action on the field. That's all those shots are being called by the parent club, in our case by the Houston Astros. So we have to find ways to add value to our product in ways that we can control. We do it through on-field entertainment. We have stuff going on in the field every half inning when the teams are going in between the dugout and the field. Always family-friendly stuff, skits with the mascot, games with fans from the stands. We want to keep people engaged that way. In customer service, again, these are things we can control. We really pride ourselves on a level of unsurpassed customer service. We have our full-time front office members at the gates every night with hellos and goodbyes. We want to make sure all our game day employees are kind of versed in the trade and how we handle certain situations. Again, just focusing on what we can control to add the value to the fan.
Will there be a television package this year or just radio?
Still just going to be on radio as of right now. We do have kind of web streaming video through MILB.TV, but right now 1340 AM. You can get it through also 1340thegame.com or anywhere on your phone through the iHeartRadio app. We hope to be on TV at some point, but a lot of things have to fall in place for that to happen.
all home and road on the radio?
Yes, yep, all 144 games.
Okay. Talk about traveling with the baseball team. What's that like when you're not playing, but you're traveling with them?
Right. Well, it's a lot different than it is in the major league level. Even though we're just right below them, we don't travel on the chartered flights. We travel depending on how far it is by bus or by commercial flight. Those commercial flights, though, are pretty taxing because you're flying out the day of the game. It's flights that are leaving 6:15 a.m. Because of the size of the cities, it's very rare you have direct flights. So you get to know DFW and Denver's airport pretty well. Of course, we have a league that spans 3 different time zones, so that can come into play. There have been times where we're traveling back from the West Coast back here to Oklahoma City. You lose 2 hours in the process. The bus rides, again, they can, I honestly prefer them because they're easier to work on, kind of get a jump start on the next day's work. Longest bus rides usually be about 8 hours, but you're also sleeping during some of that time. You're able to go overnight as opposed to having to wait the next morning to fly. But yeah, it's pretty arduous, and it makes you gain a respect for the players and how they're able to do it on a day in, day out basis, go up to the plate, face a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and perform.
You're obviously getting prepared for the season yourself. In scouting the other teams in the Pacific Coast League, which teams do you think will contend this year?
Well, Memphis is always good. The Cardinals just have such a good minor league system. They're always going to have talent. They're always going to be good. We're really going to kind of learn here now that spring training is getting underway. We see guys get optioned down to minor league camp, stuff like that. Round Rock, Texas's AAA team, they signed a lot of veterans, which can be a good thing, can lead to a lot of wins. They should be a very tough team as well. And I think Iowa, the Cubs, their AA team last year was phenomenal. They really have a lot of good talent coming up, and guys who are going to might not start the year with Iowa, but will get there near the end of the year. And now that they're in our division, they're going to be someone who our games are a lot more important against, and I think they're going to be very tough.
All right, and ticket information we'll put at the bottom of the screen here, but give us your best sales pitch for people coming out and supporting the Oklahoma City Redhawks.
Well, you're going to see guys who have played either in the major leagues or will play in the major leagues. So we've talked about all the stars of the Houston Astros farm system right now. But again, the baseball, it sounds weird, the baseball game for us is only a part of the equation.
That's right.
We have all sorts of other stuff for the fans as well. 11 fireworks nights, 4 different giveaway nights, and all the sorts of great food and beverage we have. Our food and beverage folks have done such a great job to upgrade the food, but also still keep it affordable. So there's really nothing like a great summer night at Chickasaw Bricktown Ballpark.
And absolutely, even if you have young children, toddlers or whatever, they may not care about the game, but there are things for them to do, and they'll have a good time. And just get out and enjoy the great outdoors, enjoy Bricktown and this incredible baseball stadium that the citizens built back in the 1990s, and cheer on the Redhawks.
Absolutely.
All right. We appreciate you, Alex. Thanks very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Alex Freedman, the voice of the Oklahoma City Redhawks. More on the Mayor's Magazine coming up after this.
I enrich our cultural landscape.
I help define our quality of life.
I am one of 4,000 artists in central Oklahoma who receive
support from Allied Arts, this community's united arts organization.
I am an Allied artist.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. And this month, and then again next month, we're going to be talking a little bit more to our viewers about the great services out at the animal shelter. We want you to learn about all the services that the people in Oklahoma City get to enjoy, and John Gray is here. He's the shelter program manager. John, thanks for coming back to the Mayor's Magazine.
Thanks for having me.
What a success story you guys have put together out there, and it's been in a public-private partnership with the Humane Society, but the results coming out of the Animal Welfare Department have increased dramatically in the last few years. And I'm not asking you to have a bunch of data memorized, but kind of give our viewers a big picture perspective of how far your organization has come as far as improving the welfare of animals in this community.
Well, back in 2007, we first decided that we wanted to try to become a no-kill city, and we partnered with the Humane Society, the Central Oklahoma Humane Society, and with that partnership, we were able to get in to become an ASPCA community partner. So we got on the national scene, and when that happened, things really just started clicking for us. And in 2007, our live release rate was only 27%, which means only 27% of the animals that came into our shelter went out alive. Currently we're right at 60%. So we made a tremendous amount of progress, and every year it just gets a little bit better.
We're talking thousands and thousands of animals that we're finding homes for today that we weren't finding then.
That's very, very true. You know, we're saving around 16,000 animals a year now. During that time period, it is between 5 and 10, so it just varies. We've just made a lot of progress over the last 5 or 6 years, especially.
So we're finding adoptable animals homes, but we're also active in the spay and neutering program that's going place that tries to help reduce the impact to our city services.
That's right. The city has come up with 2 really good programs. The ABC program, which is for the citizens of Oklahoma City. Any citizen, no matter income or whatever, there's no restrictions. If they need their animal to be spayed or neutered, they can call our ABC line and get an appointment set, and we spay or neuter the animals for free at no charge. And then also we started what we call our spay or pay. And so if your animal happens to end up at the shelter, if you allow us to spay or neuter it prior to going home, then we waive all the fees that are get involved with that as well.
And that's for an animal that might have gotten picked up or gotten loose or something
right.
like that. Okay, how many animals are coming through your facility on a daily or weekly basis? How you track
Well, last year's about 27,000 animals entered our shelter, and we typically, depending on the time of year, obviously come spring, which we're getting ready to hit, it's going to be our busier times of year. But typically it's somewhere between 50 and 100 animals each day enter our shelter, and during the summer months when we really pick up, it can be close to 150 animals a day.
And most people think, well, there's dogs and cats, but that's not everything.
That's true. We get a little bit of everything. Currently in the shelter, we have about 12 horses and 11 head of cattle, and so
I didn't know about the cattle.
We have a lot of livestock now, and so we always typically have the horses especially. We always typically have a horse or two. I got a pot-bellied pig as well right now, and so we just stay busy with our livestock right now.
Are these adoptable animals?
Some of them are. A lot of these are involved in our cruelty animal cases that we're working, and so a lot of them are pending cases, and when they become available, we will put them up at that time, but currently we don't have any that are available for adoption.
What type of programmings do you have that I haven't asked you about that you want to talk about this week?
Well, I think the pet food program that we have a pet food bank for citizens who need. It's meant for citizens who are in temporary need of assistance to help feed their pets. And so it's also a no charge to citizens. They can call, make an appointment, come down to the shelter, and we give them food to help them get through times, whether it be just in between jobs or being laid off, whatever the case may be. We try to help them. They're allowed up to 6 visits to get free food through that program, and it's been a lot of citizens take advantage of it.
They should. And you're located where?
Our address is 2811 Southeast 29th. We're just about a mile and a half east of I-35 on Southeast 29th Street.
And talk about if someone's thinking they might want to adopt a dog, what do they need to do? And to kind of walk them through the experience. If they've never been inside an animal shelter, what are they likely to inspire?
Well, one of the things you'll notice about our shelter is we're very open to the public. And so when you come in, you're kind of given that free reign to go through and look at all the animals that we have available. We have several employees there available to answer questions for you. The process is very, very simple. A lot of cities don't have the luxury that we have of having such a simple process. Some citizens will go in some cities and spend a couple of hours just going through the process. And really, once you decide which pet you want, the process itself takes just a few minutes to get done. And we have a tremendous staff there now that are there to support and help you. Give you advice if you have questions about different types of animals or things that you may need. And then our adoption fees are you can't beat them. They're lowest around. You know.
And what questions should a person ask themselves if they think they want a dog or a cat? What should they be thinking about when they're trying to make a decision on which animal to take home?
I would say avoid coming to look for a particular breed unless you've already done your research and know that meets your lifestyle. I think what you really need to keep in mind when you come in to adopt is what is your lifestyle like? How often are you home? What's your exercise like? Those type of things. And then try to pick an animal that fits in with that, because the thing about it is no matter what breed you get, each animal is different. And so our staff will be there to help, but have that in mind of what your energy level is and what you could tolerate, because at the end of the day, it's about getting the animal in a permanent home, and so it's important that you have those things and be realistic when you come into the shelter.
And what other questions should people ask? If they have small children, is it okay to bring a pet home from the shelter? What advice would you give there?
I think small children are great, and obviously I think anytime you're going to adopt, it should be a family decision. Bring all the kids, bring both mom and dad, and anyone that's going to be living in the household. Come down and make the decision together. And I think we encourage that. I think it's important, and so that everyone's involved in that process.
It's been about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago that my mother and I came down and got her a cat at the animal shelter, and they're still the best of friends, several years later. That seemed to be the best animal that fit her. What do you look for seniors? What do you advise? You wouldn't want a St. Bernard going home with a senior, I would assume.
Right.
But what type of things should seniors be asking if they want to come down and adopt a dog?
I think senior dogs are good. I mean, literally most of the time they look for less active, a little less energy. So it's more handleable. A lot of times the smaller breeds work well, but even the older, larger dogs will do well with seniors, ones that are a little more laid back and calm. And so I think it's just important. Once again, it's about energy level and what they're able to tolerate, and so keeping that in mind. But we have a lot of senior dogs available, and they usually make great pets for senior citizens.
Are there preparations you should make before you come down to the animal shelter? Should you already have a leash bought, or should you already have food and a bowl and a bed, or a lot of those things taken care of after they get the dog?
I think, as long as you have the basics to be able to provide for them right away when you get them home, you'll be okay. But a lot of people like to come down and figure out which pet they're going to get first, and then you'll hear a lot of stories about them going right out to the store to get whatever it may need. And so sometimes that people want to come in and kind of figure out the type of personality or even the color or whatever, so they can go out and pick these just right things for them. And so I think it's okay to be able to do that, and we have a lot of citizens that do.
Well, and really I think the improvements we made at the animal shelter really kind of reflects just the higher standards in the city as a whole. And it may have started with the map selection 20 years ago, but we just kind of raised the standards of what's acceptable in this community. And the direction we were going with animal welfare did not seem to be something that we should be proud of or was appropriate. And it's so wonderful to see the staff down at the animal welfare shop working with the Humane Society and city staff, all in the betterment of Oklahoma City, and that means getting adoptable homes for animals, and at the same time working on the spay and neutering problem so we can reduce the problem at the basic point too.
That's right. That's right. We made a lot of progress.
John Gray is the program manager for the animal shelter. John would love it if you would go down to the animal shelter and adopt an animal or 2 or 3. They are located on Southeast 29th Street. We'll have the information at the bottom of the screen, and we're very proud of the employees for Oklahoma City, and you'll be learning more about them the rest of the year here in 2014. That's going to do it for this edition of the Mayor's Magazine. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next month with another show, and we'll see you then.